As he said, my name is Rebekah Paxton. I'm the research director at the Employment Policies Institute. We are in Arlington, Virginia, but we specialize in state impacts of minimum wage policy.
Some lobbyists have been haunting the General Assembly for decades. Others are fairly new. Rebekah Paxton came onto Uprise Rhode Island's radar during a recent hearing talking against the elimination of the tipped minimum wage, which currently sits at $3.89 an hour. Paxton is the director of research and state coalitions at the Employment Policies Institute. Paxton is not from Rhode Island. As near as I can tell, she's from Arlington, Virginia, and represents the views of the Employment Policies Institute. Paxton is not registered as a lobbyist in Rhode Island, but she does lobby here and in many other states around the country where legislators are taking up the issue of raising the minimum wage. So what is the Employment Policies Institute? I went to sourcewatch.org to find out. Link in the show notes. The Employment Policies Institute, which I won't refer to as EPI for reasons I'll explain, is one of several front groups created by Berman and Company, a Washington, D.C. public affairs firm owned by Rick Berman, who lobbies for the restaurant, hotel, alcoholic beverage, and tobacco industries. Rick Berman has earned the nicknames Dr. Evil, the conservatives' weapon of mass destruction, and the AstroTurf Kingpin for his repeated use of the strategy of forming dozens of nonprofit front groups, attack dog websites, and alleged think tanks to defend his corporate clients' interests by attacking their critics, allowing his paying clients to remain out of public view. The Employment Policies Institute was launched in 1991, around the time of the economic recession that led to the electoral defeat of then-President George Bush. EPI deliberately attempted to create confusion in the eyes of journalists and the general public by adopting a name which closely resembles the Economic Policy Institute, a much older, progressive think tank with ties to organized labor. In addition to imitating the name and acronym of the Economic Policy Institute, Berman's outfit even used the same general logo. In reality, the two groups could not be more different. The Economic Policy Institute supports the living wage and mandated health benefits for workers. Berman's organization opposes both, and in fact opposes any minimum wage at all. Rebekah Paxton, she is the kind of ultra-right conservative that retweets Grover Norquist, a prominent anti-tax activist and president of Americans for Tax Reform. He also serves on the board of directors of the National Rifle Association, the American Conservative Union, the Parental Rights Organization, and the Center for National Interest, formerly known as the Nixon Center. Paxton's advocacy against tipped minimum wage workers, who are disproportionately women, Black, and Hispanic, traps people who have difficulty in accessing the levers of power in poverty and despair. As the real EPI, the Economic Policy Institute, points out, the tipped minimum wage is closely associated with poverty, and trapping people in poverty is what Rebekah Paxton and her fake EPI are all about.
As he said, my name is Rebekah Paxton. I'm the research director at the Employment Policies Institute. We are in Arlington, Virginia, but we specialize in state impacts of minimum wage policy.